y'all doing? Look, if you just saw my story from yesterday, I posted it in my stories. I think I posted it on my Facebook. But I just made $5,000 from one client, and I want to show y'all exactly how I do that. Okay, exactly how I do that. Here's the good thing about this, about what I'm doing. Okay, you can start this even if you don't have a business. Okay, so you don't have to already have a business to do this. Okay, you don't have to have no high credit score to do this. You don't have to have no big experience to do this. Right? It's very easy to learn. It's very strategic. All right, all you got to do is just show up and pay attention. So that's what we're going to be talking about today: how to start your own funding company. Right now, here's the thing when it comes to funding, and now this is for you and for your clients. If you're starting this as a business, banks like to give out money. Okay, banks like to give out money. They just need to know who to give it to. Okay, so if you've been that person that's always been told, I need money to make money, that's a lie. All right, if you're tired of seeing everybody else come up around you, you were like, well, how do I get myself a $5,000 paycheck in one day, from one person? Then this class is for you. Okay. Now, like I said before, you don't need perfect credit. You don't have to have been in years for business. You don't need a paydex score. A paydex score is basically your business's credit score. So we got a personal score and the business credit score, and that's called your paydex score, right? Now, like I said before, banks like to give out money. You just got to know the right questions to ask. You got to look good on paper, and I'm about to show y'all exactly what this looks like. Okay? You don't need the perfect credit. You just need the right profile. So go ahead, look at this right here. Bottom line, you need to have, if you have Credit Karma, you can actually open up your Credit Karma and you'll see a screenshot just like this. But payment history needs to be 100%. Your credit card utilization needs to stay low. No derogatory marks whatsoever. Late, charge off, collections, bankruptcies, none of that, okay? Your credit age needs to be at least in the minimum 5 years. 15 accounts is great. If you got 10, you can get away with that, okay? And no more than 2 inquiries. So let's keep them inquiries low, right? Now, when it comes down to breaking down your credit profile, 35% of your credit of your credit score is payment history, right? That's 35%. So what I'm saying is for you to pay your bills on time, that's almost 200 points. The second most important thing is your utilization. So not just paying your bills on time, but paying the whole thing, paying it by a statement date, and maybe paying a little bit more than what's actually due. Okay, all of that is going to keep your utilization down. So that's the most important thing. Two things to remember. Everything is important, but your payment history, your utilization are the two most important things. Now, if you are a person that has any negatives on your credit report that you need to be removed, one thing that I love using against the bureaus are their own rules, and that's called Metro 2, right? So there's three ways to get stuff off of your credit report. There's factual disputing, consumer law, and Metro 2. Factual disputing says, hey, I see some things that are incorrect on my credit report. I'm going to dispute those facts. Consumer law says, hey, there's laws in place that protect me as a consumer. I'm going to use those laws to help get stuff off of my credit report. Metro 2, however, says, I'm going to use the rules that the credit bureaus themselves made up, and I'm going to use it against them, right? So Metro 2 says, if this is labeled like this on my credit report, it's not the same across all three boards. I mean, it's a list of rules, right? But bottom line, when you use the credit bureau's own rules against them, it must be deleted from your credit report. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no question asked, okay? It literally jeopardizes the integrity of what's being reported. Now the way to do this and make your letters stand out and be strong when you send them into the credit bureaus is to use all three methods inside of your letters, right? Because all three methods work. All three methods work. So make your letters stronger by using all three of these when you write your letters. Another thing is stay consistent. Every 30 to 5 days, like clockwork, send out your letters to the credit bureaus, okay? Don't give up. When you give up, you got to start the process all over again. So every 30 to 35 days, like clockwork, until it's removed. And I promise you, whatever is on your credit report that is negative, it will be removed. Now, this is why it's so important for me and why I keep talking about this, is because chances are, if you look like me, you ain't getting nothing. All right, you seeing denies straight across the board. And that's because we were taught the wrong thing about credit. First of all, most of us got bad credit. Okay, most minorities, our credit is just shot, and that's what it is. And then we were taught the wrong thing about credit. We were taught that credit is only supposed to be used for emergencies, right? And that's just not the world that we live in. Okay, credit is everything. Not all debt is bad debt. Okay. Now, a lot of us, we are obsessed with that score. I need a 700 plus. The truth is, that's not what you need to be worried about. What you need to be worried about is your profile. The score is irrelevant in comparison to your profile. And when your profile is strong, your score is going to start to grow anyway. Okay, so let's clean up the profile. Now, when you're looking at your credit report, you need to think of it as a resume. How many of us went to college, we got the degree, we graduated, and then we tried to go out and get a job? And what did the man behind the desk tell you? I'm sorry, you don't have enough experience, right? That's exactly how these banks look at you when they look at your credit report. They want to know, do you have experience? So think of your credit report like a resume. One way to build up experience on your credit report is by using credit builder accounts. Now, the three on here that I like the most are Rent Reporters, Rental Karma, and Rent Track. Most of y'all been paying rent your whole lives. You might as well get something out of it, okay? These three accounts right here, they will actually backdate your rent up to about 4 years. So that's 4 years of perfect payment history, and that's also 4 years of added credit age to your report, okay? So we're building up that resume. Another thing you can do is go out and get you a pledge loan. Now, I know Navy Federal calls it this. Other banks might call it something different. Only thing that it is basically a secured loan. It's a secured loan against. Now, the key word here, relationship, because after you take out that secured loan and it's paid off, right, and in great standing, what happens is 9 out of 10 times you'll qualify for an actual line of credit or an actual credit card after that secured loan is paid off. So that's another way to start building on your credit. But now that we done talked about personal credit, we're going to get into a little bit about business credit, right? And here's what I love about business credit. So if my personal credit is good, walk out with a little 20p. I'm going to go and give me my little 20 credit card. But what's going to happen is if I have a business and I have my LLC structured properly, you okay? And I have my LLC structured properly, what's going to happen is I can walk into that same bank. I'm going to still take my little 20 piece. But then I'm also going to walk out with maybe 80K in business funding. So that's the difference, right? And here's another little tip for all my serialpreneurs who have like multiple LLCs. You can get funding on every single LLC that you have, okay? So that's 80 piece for every single LLC. Now go ahead and screenshot this page right here. This page right here is going to list every single thing that you need to go and structure your business properly. Starting off with your business address, you want to make sure that it's a professional address, right? It cannot be your home address. And I know a lot of us, even when we're working from home, we'll put our home address. Here's the thing with that. When you have a business and you list your personal address, you make your personal address public. So if you do wrong business with me and I want my money back, I'm showing up to your house. Okay? Don't do that. Also, professional, no business that you communicate with more than likely has a local phone number and they don't have a Gmail, a Hotmail, a Yahoo, AO, none of that. Okay, so professional across the board. Get your EIN. Your EIN is like your business and social security number. Also your articles of incorporation. So what we doing? S-Corp, LLC, what are we doing, right? So all of this needs to be in place before you can go and apply for business funding. Now, when it comes to getting business funding, anytime you apply for business funding, please know this. 9 out of 10 times, even if you are not using yourself as a personal guarantor, I promise you these banks are still looking at your personal credit profile first. Okay, they look at it first. So if your personal credit profile is shot, you ain't getting no money. Okay, so that's why we talked about personal credit first, because that needs to be the strongest. Now, you want to make sure you have a credit mix. That's revolving. That's installments. Okay? You need some primary trade lines, accounts that belong to you, not just authorized user accounts, and no derogatories whatsoever, y'all. No derogatories. So again, this is what your credit profile needs to look like. 100% payment history on time. Credit card utilization low. No derogatories whatsoever. No charge-offs, no collections, no bankruptcies, none of that. You want it in the minimum, 5 years of credit age, okay? A total of 10 accounts would be good for personal funding. However, for business funding, I do recommend having a total of 15 positive accounts in your inquiries, 2 or less, maybe even just 1 or less. So, in other words, keep it low, family. Now, we need to work smarter, not harder, and we're going to get into that right now because here's the deal. I don't want to spend my money. I want to spend your money, okay? So that's where OPM comes into play because I like other people's money, okay? Credit, credit, credit all day long. So when I talk about funding, I'm talking about credit cards, lines of credit, and loans, okay? So go ahead, look at these 5 banks right here. More than likely, you bank with one of these banks, okay? And if you do, the great thing about these banks are you can go and request a credit limit increase with no hard pull. So you can request a credit limit increase with just a soft pull. Okay? Now, let's say you don't bank with these already and you're going to apply for business funding. Now, I'm only talking about business funding from here on out, right? No more personal. What's going to happen is you are going to get a hard inquiry on your credit profile. Here's the good thing about business funding. As soon as you get that inquiry is as soon as you can remove it. Your card is not going to get shut down. Your account is not going to get flagged because it doesn't report to your personal profile. You just use yourself as a personal guarantor, and that's why you have that inquiry. So again, family, that's not an inquiry that you need to be afraid of because that's the inquiry you can just turn around and remove immediately. Okay? Now, another thing I love about business funding is the credit card stacking. Now, don't get me wrong, you can credit card stack with personal funding too, however, right? But why get a little when we can get a lot? I'm talking about big money. I'm talking about the difference between walking in and going to get 20,000 and walking in and going to get 80,000, okay? So first thing you need to know is what bureau do they pull from? That's most important. Now, if you look at this right here, we got Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, right? Chase, Navy Federal, and American Express all pull from Experian. One thing I love about American Express when it comes to business funding, you can get up to 5 cards at the same time on just one inquiry. Okay? One inquiry. So we got Chase, Navy Federal, and 5 cards from American Express. That's possibly 7 cards that you just got from one bureau. Why get a little when we can get a lot? So when I finish with Experian, I'm gonna hit up TransUnion and then I'm gonna hit up Equifax. Okay. Now because these are all business cards that I'm applying for, I'm gonna turn around and remove those inquiries, and then I'm gonna wait my 3 to 6 or 9 months, and I'm going to request a credit limit increase. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that my money is constantly growing. Now, I hope this information was valuable because now I want to tell you exactly how you can do this as a business. First things first, every single thing that I just told you, you can go and get paid for because people pay for that information. What I just told you, people pay to hold classes. Okay? So you can take that information and hold monthly classes and charge for it. Another thing you can do, and here's my business model, is running a funding company. Okay, so what I do is a done for you service for my clients. Most of my clients come to me and they need credit repair. Okay, so there's that charge right there. But after that, here's where the big bucks come in because they need funding. That's the whole goal, right? Is to get them funded. So if I get my client funded $100,000, I'm going to charge a 10% commission fee. I just made $10,000 off of that one person. Tell me what other business you know right now where you can go and make $10,000 off of one person. Now, here's what I love so much about this business model. It's what I call a win-win situation, right? It's a win-win. Literally, everybody loves money. Everybody loves to have good credit. Okay, so if you can help yourself out, if you can help somebody else out, okay, it's a wonderful feeling. First off, not even talking about the money, but it's a wonderful feeling to just have access. Right? And that's the difference between having no access and having access to everything. It's credit. Okay, so if you can help yourself and help somebody else, number one is just a good feeling. But if you can help somebody else and make $10,000 off of just one person, tell me that's not I'm waiting for you to tell me that that's a bad business model. Okay, so what I do here, if you look at this, this is what I call the 7-figure business model. So we got credit repair. Most clients come first for that. Okay, that's $500 to $1,000 for credit repair. More than likely, they're going to need a trade line. You can charge up to $500 for that, and then you're going to get them funded. Okay. Now, if they have a business, you're going to get them funded for a lot more than you would do if they didn't have a business. And if they have more than one LLC, remember, you can go and get them funded on every LLC. So if a person had 5 LLCs, right, and you got them funded on each one, and you got them $100K for each LLC, that's $500,000. That looks like a $50,000 check from one person, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Another thing is, you can be the middleman, what I call the funding broker. So let's say you're that person that's like, you know what, this sounds cool and all, but I don't really know if I'm comfortable touching nobody's credit. I don't really know if I'm comfortable applying for people on their behalf for credit cards and loans and stuff like that. But you know what, I can refer somebody to you. So if you're that person, if you came and you referred somebody to me to get them funded or to help them out with credit consultations, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick you back a commission fee of every single thing that I got them funded for. Okay, so that's exactly what it looks like, the business model overall of running a funding company. Okay, and that's exactly how, if you watched my story from earlier, how I was able to make $5,000 off of just one person. Bottom line is, you need to get results, okay? Get results for yourself, get results for your clients, keep their credit score growing, keep these collections being removed, these bankruptcies being removed, okay? Keep getting them funded. You basically create win-win situations. Now, I want to show you exactly in detail how I do all this, okay? So, just for $1, I want you to join my masterclass tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can text the number 1 to 833-490294, and I'm gonna text you the information. I'm gonna text you the link where you can go and sign up. And here's the thing: when you sign up, so in that book, you're showing you exactly how to structure your business, how to fund it. It's gonna show you that. So 90294. It's just $1. Sign up for our masterclass tomorrow, and family, I will see you there. You do not want to miss it. When you leave, you're not going to have any questions about what it looks like or how to run a funding business. So if you thought this was valuable, just wait until tomorrow, and I'll see y'all on the class. Peace, family.